to rise in this chamber today and speak on Bill C-25, an act relating to pooled registered pension plans. Innovative measures like the pooled registered pension plans demonstrate our Conservative government's focus on the issues that matter most to Canadians: economic growth and financial security. This focus has continuously achieved results. Under the leadership of our Conservative government, the Canadian economy has maintained the strongest job record in the G7. In fact, I'm very proud to say that over 600,000 net new jobs have been created since July of 2009. We've also ensured that a higher standard of living for Canadian seniors, and our government has provided an additional $2.3 billion in annual targeted tax relief to seniors and pensioners through measures like increases in the age credit account and the introduction of pension income splitting. While these are all very positive and necessary developments, there remains much to be done. Unlike the members opposite, who continue promoting job-killing tax hikes and threaten the growth of wealth and prosperity in Canada, our government has been working hard at crafting a prudent, responsible, and creative plan to move Canadians forward in these very fragile economic times. Mr. Speaker, I've just recently spent some time in Europe and seen firsthand the difficulty that the EU is in, and Mr. Speaker, I am thankful that this government has ensured that we have stayed ahead of all of the G7 nations. However, this requires continual improvement, continual vigilance, innovation, and flexibility in how we manage our economy and the long-term financial prosperity and security of all Canadians well into their golden years. We must encourage all Canadians to save for their retirement and to plan early. To help as many Canadians that presently have no plan, the pooled registered pension plan is a vehicle that will help address that very need. Mr. Speaker, while some of the provinces raised serious concerns about expanding the CPP, there was unanimity amongst the provinces in pursuing the PRPP framework. Continued consultations with our provincial partners have revealed that a key area to help the Canadian economy move forward is the retirement income system. How else can we explain the fact that there are still Canadians that face a serious risk of not saving enough for retirement? This is especially true for the self-employed and for Canadians working in companies that presently do not offer a pension plan. Pension reform is a key priority, considering that over 60% of Canadians have no workplace pension. Existing retirement income structures, while good vehicles, are not the key to addressing this problem. Instead, programs like RRSPs continue to be underutilized. On average, each Canadian has approximately $18,000 in unused RRSP room. Shortcomings and the holes in our pension options pose a real threat as our population ages and more people reach retirement age. With this in mind, our government is proposing the new low-cost and accessible pooled registered pension plans. Their introduction will widen the range of retirement savings options for Canadians and allow a greater percentage of our citizens to reach their retirement goals. Employers will be drawn to the pooled registered pension plans because it allows them the opportunity to forego the inhibitive burdens that traditional pension plans generally carry. Instead, a third-party administrator will take on most of the legal and administrative duties associated with the maintenance of the plan. Plan members will rest at ease knowing that this third-party administration will come from regulated financial institutions which have already demonstrated a capacity to fill fiduciary roles and act in the best interest of potential plan members. Canadians joining PRPPs will also gain greater purchasing power as they will essentially buy into a pool of investments. This will allow members to benefit from greater economies of scale and lower management costs, which is a real improvement from the existing smaller RRSPs. The fact that the regulatory framework of PRPPs will be harmonized between the province will also reduce the cost of these measures and remove administrative burdens. PRPPs will also be flexible enough to allow members to easily transfer between plans. This feature will undoubtedly increase the attractiveness of the plan to small business owners who may find the locking-in provisions of other plans too much of a barrier. The innovative design and new features of the PRPPs have garnered its universal praise. All of our provincial partners are enthusiastic about the positive effect of PRPPs on small and medium business. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, the Association of Canadian Pension Management, and the Canadian Taxpayers Federation have all declared their support for PRPPs. Mr. Speaker, in my own riding of Etobicoke Centre, PRPPs will be a very effective means to help many of my constituents start a pension plan where many don't have one today. I have a huge number of small and medium-sized businesses that this will apply to perfectly, and I know that the people of Etobicoke Centre working in those businesses in my riding will benefit from this tremendously. Now, Mr. Speaker, the introduction of the pooled registered pensions plans does not preclude us from continuing our work on other retirement savings vehicles. However, our government understands that in these economic trying times, Canadians cannot afford further increases in CPP contributions. And it is because of that that provinces have stalled their debate on reforms to CPP. Already, entrepreneurs are making plans to enroll their employees in new PRPPs. The Ontario Medical Association recognizes tremendous positive potential PRPPs will have on essential professions like doctors, and praises the government for creating savings opportunities that had heretofore been unavailable to them. And at this point, the introduction of a new alternative pension plan like PRPPs has been far better received than have plans on other reforms. Mr. Speaker, to conclude, pooled registered pension plans have an enormous potential to improve the retirement security of all Canadians, and particularly the 60% of Canadians who do not have the luxury of a workplace pension. This program has already drawn the interest of small business employers and relevant stakeholders, including all of our provincial partners. In these fragile economic times, sound and innovative policy like that behind the pooled registered pension plans is essential for Canadian competitiveness and for the welfare of our citizens. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Questions and comments? The honourable member for Thunder Bay, Superior North.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this PRPP proposal reminds me of another debate. Canadians called for years, still are calling for a national child care program, and the Conservatives gave them $100. Now Canadians are asking for secure pensions, and Conservatives are giving them a weak and voluntary program so they can roll the dice in the marketplace. So my question, Mr. Speaker, is there are already private pension investment vehicles out there, so somebody explain to me how yet another voluntary, risky program is an improvement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Etobicoke Centre.
Mr. Speaker, I reject entirely the premise of the honourable member's question. This is not risky at all. As we said, 60% of Canadians do not have a pension plan of their own, especially those that are self-employed or work in small and medium enterprises. This is an important ability for them to be able to save for their future in the long term and well into their golden years. This government is a very innovative government in that we provide many tools, many vehicles, many abilities for Canadians and our seniors to benefit and live in dignity in their golden years. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Good answer. Questions and comments? The honourable member for Winnipeg North.
Mr. Speaker, I would ask if the member would try to put himself in a mindset of an individual that has been working 25, 30 years, maybe in a manufacturing industry or the restaurant or hospitality industry, now in the age of 55 to 56, 57 years of age, and he or she now, watching the news, sees the Prime Minister and the government talk about increasing CPP up from 65 to 67. I'm sure he can appreciate the nervousness that those types of individuals would have when you have the government of the day talking about making those types of significant changes. It's all a part of pensions, whether it's this particular bill or the pensions, government pensions, something in which we have long advocated for, Mr. Speaker. Those individuals are looking for a very simple answer. And we couldn't get it today during question period. My challenge to this member is he prepared to say that the Conservative government will not increase the CPP age from 65 to 67? Can he give that simple guarantee that that will not happen?
Honourable member for Etobicoke Centre.
Mr. Speaker, the honourable member, I think, spent too much time in his laptop because I was talking about pooled registered pension plans. But I can put myself in the mindset of those individuals because, Mr. Speaker, starting off as a young teen, I bussed tables I cleaned toilets, I was a waiter, I built cars, I delivered furniture, and I had so many other jobs that A, put me through school, but were very difficult jobs in their time. So I understand what Canadians go through. And on the pooled registered pension plans, this is again another opportunity for Canadians to save for, and it's never too late, Mr. Speaker, to start saving for your retirement and planning with good, prudent tools that this government is providing all Canadians.
Questions and comments? The honourable member for York Centre.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to ask the member, and I congratulate him on a wonderful and his very insightful speech. I would like to ask him, given our fragile economic times that we currently face, what would an increase in CPP premiums do?
The honourable member for Etobicoke Centre.
It would be a very difficult time because this is a fragile economy. It also takes two-thirds of the nation, or two-thirds of the population to be able to change that rule. And right now, in very, very difficult economic times, like those I observed in Europe recently, that would be a burden that we could not fairly place on Canadians.